Welcome everyone to the rebuild dynasties of Vanderbilt and Toledo. I am rebuilding Vanderbilt and my best friend Metal Mike is rebuilding Toledo, and a lot has happened. Sometimes real life happens and it takes up your time, and right now that's happening with me. I don't have a lot of time to edit videos anymore, which is why there has been no Season 2 2025 videos. Until right now, at least. So, while I don't have the time for editing that I used to have, I still want to have the back end of this season for you all to see. And I'm going to start with the Conference Championship week. As you can see, Vanderbilt Commodores 12-0, undefeated season, going against the number 13 ranked Georgia, 9-3 in the SEC Conference Championship. I have Vanderbilt ranked number 1. I started out being ranked 22, and Mike's Toledo Rockets were ranked number 19. Let's take a look at the college football playoffs. And I'm not going to go through the whole thing because really only the top 12 make it. So I'll probably go down to maybe the top 15 because let's be real, unless a major upset happens, anything under 15 is just playing for a bowl spot. So 1, Vanderbilt, 2, Michigan, 3, Clemson, 4, Nebraska. That was a surprise this year. 5, Oregon, 6, Miami, 7, Liberty, 8, Boise State, another surprise this year, 9, Texas A&M, 10, North Carolina, 11, Ohio State, 12, Alabama, and these would be the top 12 in the playoffs at this moment. Now for the teams on the outside looking in. 13, Georgia. Metal Mike's Toledo Rockets are at 14, and Boston College is at 15. So these three teams are looking to sneak in. They're looking to get a little help from people playing their conference championships this week. Speaking of those conference championships, here they are in the Conference USA Championship. Number 20, Louisiana Tech plays number 7, Liberty. This should say Pac-12. I'm going to have to look into this and see why it doesn't say Pac-12, because it says it on the emblem there, the logo. But Stanford plays number 5, Oregon, in the Pac-12 championship. In the MAC championship, as you can see, Metal Mike's Toledo Rockets beat Eastern Michigan 42-34, and Toledo is back-to-back MAC champions. The Big 12 champions. BYU takes on Oklahoma State. The Sun Belt Championship. Troy takes on Old Dominion. SEC Championship. Number 13 Georgia plays number 1 Vanderbilt. AAC Championship. Number 18 Tulsa plays number 16 North Texas. In the Mountain West Championship, Fresno State plays number 8 Boise State. The Big 10 Conference Championship, number 4 Nebraska plays number 2 Michigan. That should be a great game. And in the ACC Championship, number 3 Clemson takes on number 10 North Carolina. And I know Mike is rooting for Clemson in this game to help them out. Now let's take a look at how we got to where we are. And I'm going to do a quick rundown of both of our schedules. I'll start with Vanderbilt. At a bye week, 0-1. Then I go on to basically run the table. I beat Virginia Tech, beat Ball State, crushed Georgia State, crushed Colorado State, beat South Carolina, beat Alabama in Alabama. And I told Mike right after this game, I never want to play Alabama in Alabama again. That was a crazy hard game. Beat LSU, have a bye, beat Missouri, beat Auburn, not as bad as I did last season. I didn't have 20 sacks this game. However, I did have 3 interceptions. So my defense did play a big part in that Auburn game. Again, then went on to beat Kentucky. Week 13 at Texas, 16-10. I beat them. That was a very hard game. Both offenses struggled, as you can see. Texas shut me down in the red zone every time I got in there, just about. And that was another place. Texas, I do not want to go there again. That was a very hard place to play. And in week 14 was my revenge game last season. Week 14, Tennessee, they beat me, knocked me out of the SEC Conference Championship game, and ultimately my shot at the college football playoffs. They had a chance to do that again, and it didn't work out for them. They played me tough towards the end, but Vanderbilt wins 37-23. Week 15, Army-Navy, which brings us to the conference championship game against Georgia. Now we'll take a look at Mike's schedule, and this was a tale of 2 seasons. Last year I struggled at the beginning and Mike dominated. This year was reversed. Mike struggled at the beginning and I dominated. Week 0 bye. Week 1 he beat Kentucky. Week 2 he lost to Western Kentucky. By week 3. Week 4 lost to Appalachian State. Week 5 he beats FCS Northwest in a good rebound game. Then it looks like he gets rolling. Week 6 he beats Central Michigan. Week 7 beats UMass. Then week 8 he loses to Akron in a close game. And then from there, Mike figured it out. Week 9, win against Miami of Ohio. Week 10 beats Washington State. By week 11, week 12 beats Northern Illinois. Week 13, Toledo beats Western Michigan. Week 14 beats Ohio. Week 15 bye Army-Navy. And the conference championship game against Eastern Michigan. The Toledo Rockets win and are 2-time MAC champions. We'll take a look at the stats real quick for this game. It looked like Mike won despite the play of his quarterback. Caleb Osborne had 453 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions. His leading rusher was Willie Shaw III, 13 carries, 33 yards, and 2 touchdowns. His leading receiver, Larry Stevens, who dominated this year. We'll take a look at that in a little bit. 11 catches, 262 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Tavian Ford had Toledo's only sack. Nasir Bowers, the cornerback, led the team in tackles with 8. Hyaja Miller, cornerback, led the team in interceptions. He had their only one with 1 interception. Tavian Ford also forced a fumble. Emmanuel McNeil-Warman recovered it, it looks like. No blocks, no safeties. And Hyaja Miller's interception looks like it was a pick 6 for the team's only touchdown. Kick returning, Chadrick Queen led the team 4 returns for 75 yards. And punt returning, Chadrick Queen, 3 punt returns for 17 yards. And those are Mike's stats in the MAC Conference Championship game. I'm going to try to go through this real quick because I know everyone's eager for the Vanderbilt and Georgia game. Let's take a look at the season stats real quick just so you can see how everybody did. And Drew Dickey easily was probably the best player in college. 4,954 yards, 51 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, 78% completion percentage, and a quarterback rating of 187.4. I had no quarterback controversy this year. I'm going to miss him when he graduates. Rushing, Chase Gillespie led my team, 193 carries, 756 yards, 8 touchdowns, and 1 fumble. Gillespie also had 19 catches, 199 yards, and 2 touchdowns for me. Micah Bell was my leading receiver with 97 catches, 1,585 yards, and 11 touchdowns. And a close second, this was my 1-2 punch, Alec Ayomanor, 92 catches, 1,357 yards, also 11 touchdowns. And I spread the ball out, as you can see, between everybody. Ayomanor was my transfer from Stanford at the end of last season, and he played dividends for me. Leading tackler was Jeffrey Ugochewicz, my strong safety with 85. BJ Dykite, my right end, led my team in sacks. This was my biggest improvement this year, was interceptions. I actually led the nation in interceptions this year, as opposed to last year where I led the nation in sacks. Trudell Berry, my senior cornerback, I'm going to miss him when he's gone. 10 interceptions, led my team. He also led my team in touchdowns. He had 2 pick sixes, no safeties. Martell Height and Darren Agu both had blocks. Kick returning was nothing special. Dwayne Livingston, 19 kick returns for 325 yards. Closely by Tristan Brown, 20 kick returns for 318 yards. And punt returns, Dwayne Livingston, 18 punt returns, 127 yards. I had no punt returns or kick returns for touchdowns this season. We'll go ahead and take a look at Mike's stats real quick. And he did jump around between quarterbacks. Ultimately, he went back to Caleb Osborne, 4,482 yards, 35 touchdowns, 21 interceptions, 54% completion percentage, and a quarterback rating of 158. Not too bad for the sophomore. He did struggle with turnovers a bit, as you saw in the MAC Conference Championship game. He had 5. Rushing the ball, Willie Shaw III, 198 carries, 789 yards, 11 touchdowns, and he did have a bit of a fumbling problem. It looks like he had 5 on the year. Shaw also had 17 catches for 95 yards and a touchdown receiving. His leading receiver is Larry Stevens, 101 catches, 2,405 yards, and 19 touchdowns. He loses Juwan, and Larry Stevens just tears it up for him. I know Mike's going to miss him after this year. Tackling, Damian Olson II, his middle linebacker, led his team in tackles with 84. Sacks, right end Jeremiah Peters led the team in sacks with 12. Interceptions was a tie between quarterback Avery Smith and cornerback Hydra Miller. Both had 5. Touchdowns, Smith and Miller both had 3, so they were probably both 3 pick sixes. No safeties. Nicholas Thompson led the team in blocks with 3. We'll go to kick return. It looks like wide receiver Chadrick Queen led the team with 43 returns, 764 yards, and 1 touchdown. Punt returns, Chadrick Queen again, 31 punt returns for 212 yards. And that is Mike's stats for this year. We're going to take a look at the Heisman finalists real quick. And Drew Dickey, Vanderbilt's own, is number 1. Number 2 is Texas Tech wide receiver Micah Hudson. Number 3, Vanderbilt receiver Micah Bell. Number 4, Clemson's quarterback Cave Kublik. And finally, number 5, Pittsburgh's quarterback Eli Holstein. And these are the Heisman finalists. I'm hoping Dickey gets it. He definitely deserves it this year. We'll go through the award finalists later. We'll take a quick look at the bowl projections to see right now where Mike is projected to be. And it looks like number 14, Toledo, is projected to play Troy in the Camellia Bowl on December 30th. And lastly, before Vanderbilt plays Georgia, we'll take a look at the college football playoff bracket as it stands right now. Number 12, Alabama, plays number 5, Clemson. The winner plays number 4, Liberty, in the Cotton Bowl. 9, Texas A&M plays 8, Boise State. The winner plays number 1, Vanderbilt, in the Sugar Bowl. Number 11, Ohio State, plays number 6, Nebraska. The winner plays Oregon in the Rose Bowl. And number 10, North Carolina, plays number 7, Miami. Winner plays Michigan in the Orange Bowl. And this could all change depending how the conference championships go. Well, it is time. Number 13, Georgia, plays number 1, Vanderbilt. SEC Conference Championships. Let's go. There it is, the SEC trophy, the original conference championship game. Vanderbilt is ready to go. They are charging the field. Cheerleaders getting pumped, players pumping up the crowd. And here comes Georgia. Their cheerleaders doing the same as they run out onto the field. Here we go. Look at that bulldog. Here. There we go. Uh-oh, that's a bad punt. Oh, they blocked in my punt. Are you kidding me? Here we go. No chance. Are you kidding me? Wow. All right. Georgia responds. Oh. Ooh. Here we go. Bradley, man, untouched. Oh, boy. Close one. Knew this one would be hard. Here we go. fights for it. Wow. Oh, she looked like she goes scared. Oh, that block would have been a... There we go. SEC champions. And here are my stats of the game. Drew Dickey, 265 yards, 1 touchdown, quarterback rating of 143.9. However, Dickey did have 3 rushes, really 2, some of them were sacks, for 2 touchdowns. Chase Gillespie was solid when I needed him, 25 attempts for 84 yards and 1 touchdown. He did have a little rough day, but it is against Georgia. The biggest surprise for me was Ayo Manor. They shut him down completely. 5 catches for 16 yards, but they had no answer for my tight end Eli Stowers. 14 catches, 103 yards, and a touchdown. He was my Mr. Third Down. They just couldn't stop him. On defense, Alan McPherson, my cornerback, led the team in tackles with 8. Right end BJ Diakite led the team in sacks with 1.5. No interceptions, no forced fumbles, none of all that fun stuff. Nothing really happened on kick returning either. Tristan Brown, 3 returns for 47 yards. And punt returns, Dwayne Livingston, 2 for 10 yards. And those are my stats for the SEC Conference Championship game. There it is officially. Congratulations, you have won the SEC Championship. 2025 SEC champions, the Vanderbilt Commodores. Georgia put up one heck of a fight, as you saw the highlights, but in the end, it just wasn't good enough. Let's advance it and get on to the next week and see the final standings for the college football playoffs and the matchups. It is week 1 of bowl week now, and I have some job offers. Now, I already told Mike that regardless of whether I win the conference championship or not, I am coming back to Vanderbilt next year to coach my final year on my deal. So that's already a done deal, but let's just take a look and see Auburn as an offensive coordinator, and that's a job upgrade, going from a head coach to an OC? No. Offensive coordinator for Kentucky, offensive coordinator for LSU, and head coach for Oklahoma. I would not be interested in any of these. I'm curious to see who is interested in Mike, and I'm looking to see if I see his name anywhere here. Defensive coordinator of Notre Dame. Unless he has some other offerings that I don't see on my screen, Notre Dame is interested in Mike for their defensive coordinator. Let's take a look at the Heisman winner, and the Heisman winner is Drew Dickey, quarterback, Vanderbilt. Much deserved for the year he had. Second place, Toledo wide receiver Larry Stevens. Third place, Vanderbilt wide receiver Micah Bell. Fourth place, Texas Tech wide receiver Micah Hudson. And 5th place, Clemson quarterback Cabe Klubnik. We'll take a look at the award winners. We might as well do that. Drew Dickey wins Player of the Year, beating out wide receiver from Toledo, Larry Stevens. Head Coach of the Year, it should have been me. I'm undefeated at that point, but it went to Liberty's Emmett O'Connell. And Mike made the top 10 in voting with number 9. Best quarterback had to be Drew Dickey. Best defensive player, Toledo's right end, Jeremiah Peters. All right. Best defensive back, cornerback Avery Smith. Now, I don't agree with this because my quarterback, Trudell Berry, led the nation in interceptions. Congratulations, Mike, but I think it should have been Berry. Running back, none of us. Wide receiver, that had to be Larry Stevens. He dominated the stats for wide receiver. The Lombardi Award presented to the best defensive lineman of the year is Toledo's right end, Jeremiah Peters. Unitas Golden Arm Award presented to the senior quarterback of the year, Vanderbilt's Drew Dickey. There was really no other option there. Best defensive end, Toledo's Jeremiah Peters. Peters is really ranking up the awards here. None of us for best interior linebacker. Best tight end, Eli Stovers, and he showed it in that SEC championship game, coming up clutch for me. The Broyles Award for best assistant coach, Liberty's defensive coordinator, Victor Cotterill, and Liberty is just getting love with the coaching staff. Best linebacker is not us. Best center is not one of us. Best kicker is not one of us. Best punter, not one of us. And best punt returner is not one of us. Those are the awards. Let's take a look at the All-Americans real quick. The National All-American. Quarterback Drew Dickey. Wide receiver Larry Stevens from Toledo. Tight end Eli Stowers from Vanderbilt. Drew Dickey also from Vanderbilt. Those are the national first team All-Americans that we have. Second team. Do we have any second teamers? No, we don't. Freshmen. We have no freshmen either. What really surprised me is Peters from Toledo didn't make this list. Let's take a look at the MAC All-Americans. Toledo's Caleb Osborne, quarterback. Toledo's wide receiver, Larry Stevens. Toledo's left end, Travian Ford. Toledo's right end, Jeremiah Peters. There he is. And Toledo's free safety, Emmanuel McNeil Warren. And Toledo's punter, Emilio Duran, are all MAC first team All-Americans. The second All-American team, Toledo's running back, Willie Shaw III. Toledo center, Maddox Marcotti. Toledo's defensive tackle, Martez Pointner. And Toledo's cornerback, Avery Smith. And the MAC all-freshman team does not have any Toledo Rockets. We'll take a look at the SEC teams. First team All-American for the SECs. Quarterback Drew Dickey. Wide receiver Micah Bell. Wide receiver Alec Ayamaner. Tight end Eli Stowers. And that's it for Vanderbilt SEC. First team All-Americans. The second team All-Americans are no Commodores on that list. And the SEC all-freshman team is no Commodores on that list as well. Okay, let's take a look at the scores from last week and see who won the conference championships. Liberty defeated Louisiana Tech to win the Conference USA Championship. Oregon crushed Stanford to win the Pac-12 Conference Championship. We already know about Toledo. Oklahoma State beat BYU to win the Big 12 Championship. Troy beat Old Dominion to win the Sun Belt Championship. We already know about the SEC. North Texas survived Tulsa to win the AAC Championship. Fresno State dominated and upset Boise State to win the Mountain West Championship. Michigan held off Nebraska to win the Big Ten Championship. And Clemson beat North Carolina to win the ACC Championship. Those are the conference championships. And one thing I forgot to check is just to see who won the Army-Navy game. In a very low-scoring defensive matchup, Army defeated Navy 9-3. Let's take a look at the college football top 25 to see where everybody placed. Michigan jumped me, and they are now number 1. Vanderbilt falls to number 2. Clemson number 3. Oregon 4. Nebraska 5. Miami 6. Liberty 7. Texas A&M moves up to 8. Ohio State moves up to 9. Toledo moves up to 10, and that means they should be in the playoffs. Congratulations, Mike. North Carolina drops to 11. And Alabama should have the last spot at 12. It looks like me beating Georgia helped Mike out. It knocked them down. It helped propel Toledo as well. North Carolina losing also helped Mike get in there as well too. That's great. And I think Boise State, yeah, they were number 8. Them getting upset by Fresno State also helped Toledo get up there. He's in. That's all that matters. Now we're going to look up the college football brackets and see the matchups. Alabama, number 12, plays number 5, Nebraska. The winner plays Oregon, number 4, in the Cotton Bowl. Number 9, Ohio State, plays number 8, Texas A&M. The winner plays number 1, Michigan, in the Rose Bowl. Number 11, North Carolina, plays number 6, Miami. The winner plays number 3, Clemson, in the Orange Bowl. Now this is interesting right here, because number 10, Toledo, plays number 7, Liberty. The winner plays me, number 2, Vanderbilt, in the Sugar Bowl. So Mike and I have a chance. First time we're playing each other, if he beats Liberty, to meet in the Sugar Bowl. Let's check and see just how Mike did against Liberty. It looks like Mike's Toledo Rockets were upset by number 7 Liberty, and Mike texted me and let me know Liberty's defense just had him shut down. He couldn't get anything going on offense, and it showed. Going into the fourth quarter, Liberty was up 16-7. Although Mike shut them out in the fourth, he was only able to score 3 points. He showed me a play at the end of the game. He made a video of it and texted me on my phone. And he had a chance to win. As time expired, he marched down the field, threw a pass in the end zone. It should have been a touchdown, but his wide receiver dropped it in the end zone. And Liberty survives Toledo's comeback attempt and thwarts them. The stats for the game were Caleb Osborne, 297 yards and 3 interceptions. His inconsistency continues. Rushing, Willie Shaw, 10 carries, 74 yards, and a touchdown. Seems like he was very good for them. He also had 5 catches for 9 yards. Leading the way, surprisingly, it's not Larry Stevens leading the way in receiving. It was Zamarian Lang, 8 catches for 116 yards, although Stevenson did have 3 for 76 yards. That's not bad at all for him. Tackles, middle linebacker Matthew Presley led the Rockets in tackles. Sacks, defensive tackle Martez Pointer had the team's only sack. Strong safety John Allen had the team's only interception. No defensive touchdowns, no safeties, no blocks. And as far as kick returning goes, wide receiver Chadrick Queen, 3 returns for 39 yards. And he also had 2 punt returns for 4 yards. Well, Mike, I am sorry that you lost. As you can see, I will be playing number 7 Liberty in the Sugar Bowl. I was looking forward to playing you, but now I can avenge you. I have some more job offers, so let's take a look at them. Like I said earlier, I am not leaving Vanderbilt. I'm staying for my final year, but Georgia Tech sent me an offer to be their head coach, Indiana, Tulsa, and Liberty, who ironically I play, also sent me an offer to be their head coach. They're interested, but I am 3rd on their list. So, let's see what other new openings there are. Akron, Arizona's looking for a new coach. Ball State are interested in Mike. He's number 3 on the list. Kent State, Toledo for an offensive coordinator. Ooh, Mike must have fired his offensive coordinator. Yikes. Wonder who he's going to hire there. Temple's looking for a new coach. The Pittsburgh Panthers are very interested in Mike. Number 1 choice. Nevada's looking for a coach. UAB for a defensive coordinator. Western Michigan's looking for a coach. Old Dominion is very interested in Mike to be their head coach. Appalachian State looking for a head coach as well. And James Madison is looking for a head coach. So I'm curious to see just who, if Mike leaves, where he's going to go, or if he stays. Old Dominion's interested in him. Pitt's interested in him. Ball State's interested in him. So I hope he stays with Toledo. I mean, he's made the playoffs twice with them. Won the MAC 2 years in a row. He's turning that that school into a MAC powerhouse. We'll take a look at the college football brackets and give an updated picture. Last week, Alabama upset Nebraska. Now they will play number 4 Oregon in the Cotton Bowl. Texas A&M beat Ohio State. They will now play Michigan in the Rose Bowl. North Carolina upset Miami, and they will play Clemson and the Orange Bowl. And as I just announced, the Liberty defeated Toledo, and they will play me, Vanderbilt, in the Sugar Bowl. I think that's all we have left to go for this week. So let's go. Liberty and Vanderbilt. Let's do this. Right, we are in the Caesars Superdome for the Sugar Bowl. The Commodores have run out onto the field. Let's go. Liberty knocked off one user. Now they're looking to knock off the other. Will the bye week hurt the Commodores? Liberty's got that streak going. 2 undefeated teams. There it is. He was shut down in the first game. Wow. All right. Barely good is still good. You got it. All right. No! Damn it, Dickie! And he missed. My kicker's trash. Wow. Liberty done took me out. Shouldn't have kicked that field goal. There it is. Congratulations, Liberty. Well, there you have it. Liberty has upset Vanderbilt and knocked me out of the playoffs. Here are my stats for the game. Dickey, 260 yards, 2 touchdowns, and those 2 interceptions killed me in the fourth quarter. Gillespie was solid, 17 carries, 138 yards, and 1 touchdown. Bell was solid, 6 catches, 115 yards and a touchdown. On defense, strong safety, Yugo Chikawua and right end BJ the Kite led the team in tackles with 9. No sacks. Free safety Deontay Carter and cornerback Jalen Lackey both had an interception. And no touchdowns. Kicking, I should not have attempted that field goal. This kicker is terrible. He cost me the game, but that's Brock Taylor for you. I trusted the wrong guy. Kick returning, Tristan Brown, 3 returns for 52 yards, and punt returning, Dwayne Livingston, 1 return for 7 yards. And those are my stats for the game. Props to Liberty. They not only knocked out Mike, but they knocked out me the week later. This team is, I see why they're undefeated, 15-0 now. But I made mistakes on my end. I threw 2 bonehead passes because I'm a gunslinger and I forced my passes in there. And my kicker, Brock Taylor, is terrible. How are you going to miss that field goal? If he hits that field goal, we go into overtime. Because that would have been 27-27. Or heck, I might have even stopped them on their next drive. And I would have won 27-24. But we will never
know that.
All right, guys, as you can see, the national championship game is Clemson, who won the national championship in year 1, is going to be playing Oregon, and they're going to defend their title. Let's take a look at the college brackets and see how both teams got there. As you can see, Oregon defeated Alabama, and Texas A&M upset Michigan. Clemson pounded North Carolina, and as you saw, Liberty upset me. They squeaked by. They will play Clemson in the Peach Bowl. Oregon defeated Texas A&M in the Fiesta Bowl, and Clemson defeated Liberty in the Peach Bowl, and that is how we got to Clemson versus Oregon in the national championship game. So let's go ahead and see just who is the national champion. Clemson is back-to-back national championships, defeating Oregon 35-24. That is crazy. The impact player was Oregon's right end, Elijah Rushing. This must have been for the season. Yes, he set a new school record. 25 sacks, 49 tackles, and 10 tackles for a loss. He set a new school record for sacks. While we're at school records, let's take a look right now and look at the records between that me and Mike may have set for our schools and nationally. So we'll start with the career. We know nobody on career. For season, during our first season, Juwan Newton set the national record for passing yards for receiving yards with 3,109. And Newton last season, or I should say our first season, also set the national record for touchdown catches with 30. And we have no single game records. So Mike already setting national records. I got to get caught up on that, I guess. So we'll quick check Vanderbilt's. This year, Drew Dickey set a single game record for passing yards at 546. Eric Aomanor set a school record for receiving yards in a game at 243. Drew Dickey also set the record for passing yards in a game at 7 this season. And last season, Miles Capers set the single game sack record for 5 sacks. This year, Drew Dickey set the record for passing yards in a season with 5,479. Micah Bell set the receiving yards record with 1,785. Drew Dickey also set the single season passing yards record with 54. Last season, Micah Bell set the record for touchdown catches in a season with 25. And this season, Trudell Berry set the interceptions for a season record at 10. For career school records at Vanderbilt, Drew Dickey sets the passing touchdowns record at 76. And Micah Bell sets the receiving touchdown record at 37. Now we're going to hop over to Toledo for their school records, and we'll start with the single game. Last season, Tucker Gleason set the single game passing record for yards with 605. And last season, Juwan Newton set the receiving yards record for 391 yards. Tucker Gleason also set the single game touchdown record with 8. And Newton also set the touchdown catches record with 6 in a game. For season records, Caleb Osborne set the passing yards in a season record with 4,779 yards. Juwan Newton set the receiving yards record was 3,109 yards. That's also the national record, as we saw. And Juwan Newton set the touchdown catches in a season with 30 for Toledo's school records for career. Larry Stevens is now the all-time receiving yards leader with 4,107 yards, and he is also the all-time touchdown leader for receivers too, was 35 touchdowns. And that is it for Toledo's school records. So myself and Mike are already impacting our franchises. I shouldn't say franchises, our schools, because this isn't Madden. On next week's episode, we will recap season 2. I will have Mike on again, and we'll go over season 2 and talk about our games, just talk about our thoughts on the season. So check it out. You won't want to miss that. It'll get us ready for 2026, our third year of rebuilding Vanderbilt and Toledo. If you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to hit that notification bell so you don't miss a single thing, man. This is good shit, guys. Keep it up. Thank you all for watching. Johnny H. out.